So Lance, I know you reached out on Instagram, but this is the first time I've gotten to meeting you and Dave. Of course, we've had some interactions. Good to actually put a name to the face here.
Exactly.
Face to the name.
Yep.
All right. And then I'm Gary, or go by Stan the Man.
Stan the Man.
Ego. My alter
Stan the
ego.
Man, I like it.
Yeah.
Got
Actually,
it.
I have to retype that. It's Stan D, not Stan the.
Oh,
got it.
Somebody else's.
Stan middle
Yeah.
initial
That's-
D. Man, I got you.
That's what you're. That's too formal with the.
Exactly. Right. It's not. You know what I mean? It's not fish type. It's not in there.
You're not getting any clout with the name Stan the Man. Come on,
Right,
you got to
There's
put the
just
D in.
Right. There's too many. So I drop the, just go D. I'm D
Exactly.
Man.
And then we'll just call you D Man. Yeah.
There we go. Yes. And it works. I really don't care. So it all works. Anyways, Edward, welcome. Welcome to our podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's an honor.
You prefer Edward or Ed? We were debating.
Norton?
No, I kind of always just introduce myself as Edward and let people kind of take it from there.
Okay.
I truly don't have any preference. So call me what you will.
Sounds
Come on, man.
Are you married?
I am. Yeah. So I'm 33 years old. Got kind of a baby face here, but I got 3 kids and a wife.
Wow.
And so busy. So it's 3 under 5. So
Holy cow.
I don't get time to, when I get time to fish, I go fish, right? So, but yeah, it's a trip right now. It's kind of an interesting stage of life. So just got them down for bed, and then Dave hit me up on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get ready for this now. So, so sorry if I'm a little disheveled. I got my hat on and.
Oh, good, man. We're
I was
glad
gonna
to
say,
have you.
probably the best dressed out of all of us at this point.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Wait a minute. I got one of
sorry,
those.
D-Man. I didn't mean to offend on that one, but
Nice.
yeah, you do have a good.
You slap stuff on. Doesn't mean we do.
You hurt the boomer's feelings there, Lane.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did just crawl right out of the river today. So
Yeah.
anyway,
We smell you from here.
yeah.
We have smell cam next week. It's installed.
No, man.
But yeah, Edward, great to have you, man. We love to welcome folks onto the podcast, have a little bitter banter about some fishing stories, just kind of catch up on who you are, what you do. I mean, we all know that you put out some of the most incredible artwork on Instagram. Big fan, big follower. Yep, Dave's got your stickers already slapped on.
Fly fool.
So, but yeah, man.
It warms my heart, Dave.
I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Well, I'll have to send you guys after the show. You guys will have to shoot me over your address, and I'll send you some freebies.
Deal.
For having me on
man.
here.
Oh man, usually I got to beg for that stuff.
I know that we usually got to put up some sort of front for stuff.
You're right. Hey, you just
man.
went up on the level of our guest. You know what I mean?
Hey,
You were average, and now you're like, oh yes.
Edwin, we'll call it even. I'll send some, flies back over to you. Courtesy
I
of
love it.
myself, Dave, and Stan D Man, of course. A little gift package from all of us.
hey, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm all for it, man.
See, this is how you make best
yeah.
friends. You show up, you have 2 minutes of conversation, you start offering gifts. That I feel like that's how the fly fishing industry is nowadays, right?
It is.
That's 100% my honestly, like that's been my experience. I'll just be upfront. Like I feel a little self-conscious just because I'm such a hack over here, right? Like I haven't fished for like fly fished actually for a very long time, right? It's probably been 3 years now. I've been in it. But I will say, from just being a beginner on the river and really being fairly self-taught, man, I've met some just really great people and then the Instagram community and kind of the art community around that, and not just that, just the fly fishing community has been just so welcoming and just so open to offer advice. It's been so much fun. It's kind of what's really wanted me to be a bigger part of the community, right? And just keep pursuing it. But yeah, that's been my experience, hands down.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on Instagram? Remind us what's your handle?
Yeah, so my handle is just at SketchyWildLife. Very, very uninspired name that I came up with. Like I've been doing art for about 2 years, and so it just kind of came on a whim. And I started out as just a kind of a place to put my work. So I started out doing like kind of graphite, charcoal, and like colored pencil stuff. And it was all really specifically wildlife, right? So I draw bears and bison and fish, of course, but it's kind of started to narrow and get more into, you know, specifically fish and more specifically game fish and even more specifically trout, right?
Awesome.
Those are kind of my favorite stuff now. But yeah, it all started on Instagram. I just started kind of doing some doodles and throwing them up there. And then, you know, as my skills got a little bit better, the following got a little bit bigger and the community got a little stronger. And yeah, and here I am today, you know, not doing anything crazy, but, you know, just having a blast doing it, right? So
Are you living off of it?
awesome.
Is it a career? Are you making enough to?
I'll call it a side hustle, right? So I have a full-time gig for sure. You know, I work for a pretty big company called Clorox, if you guys have ever heard of them. They sell wipes and bleach.
Yeah.
So I'm just a sales guy there, but you know, this is my passion, right?
The sales have been good the last couple of years.
yeah, it's been good business. You can't complain too much. But.
So that's how you ended up in Bentonville?
Yeah. So you're familiar, huh?
Yes,
Walmart? Yeah.
No, I am not a corporate. I am a construction worker and stuff, but I married corporate, and her crew took us down there. We lived in Fayetteville for 3 years.
Oh, did you? Hey,
yeah,
that's cool.
She worked for P&G.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm in Bentonville now. You know, we've only been here for 6 months. I just moved from Utah, so you know, gotta say I do miss the mountains. I miss the rivers out there. But you know, from what I've been hearing of the locals and the few people I've met that are into it, you know, there's just so much to see out here. And we've dabbled, but I haven't gotten into a fish yet here. So I'm yeah, I'm pretty much I'm itching. I'm very due. So. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been out on the water. So I'm hearing you coming off the water. I'm like,
Yeah.
super
Well, I mean, for what it's
worth.
worth.
I don't want to be that stretched.
Right. I mean, I feel like for what it's worth, you know, Arkansas presents a whole different fleet of challenges when you're trying to fish for, you know, in your mind, the same species that you fish for in Utah and out here in the West. And, you know, while they are present, it's totally different tactics, right? So, you know, you take the training wheels off. Sometimes you got to chuck them back on when you're entering new water, man. I feel that anytime I travel outside of Colorado, honestly, I feel like I take it back 10 steps as an angler and I have to remember my knots again and all this kind of stuff, right? So it's, you know, the growing pains of entering a new area. But from what I've heard, Arkansas fishes incredibly well.
Hey, I've heard the same thing, right? I actually just booked a trip with a guy. We actually just switched services. I did a little graphic for him recently, and his name's Drew Friday. He guides out of Cotter on the White River. And so, I mean, when I moved here, I don't know if you guys have ever fished the White River or heard of it, but it's supposed to be the premier, you know, fishing river here for trout in Arkansas. So going out there next month. So I can't not wait. Yeah.
Are you guys floating or waiting, or what's that trip look like?
I think it sounds like it's going to be off a boat, which you know, I just actually don't have a ton of experience. All my fly fishing experience has been just, you know, waiting. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to do. It's kind of my favorite part. It's the most therapeutic way of fishing, in my opinion. You know. But hey, I like just catching fish is fun, man. So getting on a boat and kind of seeing the different flavors of fly fishing, I'm for it.
That's a really fun experience. We were just talking before you came on. We're talking about a trip we're taking up to the Green River, Flaming Gorge area.
Oh, yeah, down south, and
we're gonna have 5 rafts, 15 guys in the middle of winter. It's gonna be kind of crazy.
All you guys are going on this call?
2 of the 3.
The D-man might be going. We're not sure yet. Jury's still out.
Okay.
We're going to flip a coin after this is over.
Maybe they'll even let you vote. They won't let me vote, but maybe they'll let you vote.
Okay, yeah. So whoever's most likely to be here, you know, we can...
So you'll get to fish the beaver below the beaver dam. That's actually where I started to fish. I learned to fish was there. You're wading.
Oh, really?
You're wading in 3 or 4 foot of water. You're going for stock trout and browns, mostly rainbows. And that's where you learn to nymph.
Dodging the generator schedule. Right?
Yeah, you got to watch it. I don't know what your range like, but it's pretty cool. You're nymphing at 8-10 feet deep, but it's a slow float, so it's a great way, I think, to learn, because it's just the action's not fast. You know what I mean? You're not throwing in there. You got to really hustle. You get to learn your cast. You get to learn your men, your presentation, which is huge. That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a great place to learn more.
So I imagine you're just fishing like sow bugs and like zebra midges and stuff there, just kind of
the
like
midges are huge.
Stuff.
Yeah, midges are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. They all eat almost any other color. They'll eat yellows, they'll eat greens, they'll eat whites. Then some days all they'll eat are coppers, copper johns. That's all they'll eat. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those fisheries where I said they'll eat things you're like normally you wouldn't use or work. Last summer I threw a yellow nymph, and it was the first time I've thrown it since Arkansas, and it worked. But we're talking 10, 15 years in between those two spans. So I'm actually trying to look. I might have a trip back there this summer. We'll see if it happens. But I would like to, it's like going back to your own stopping grounds. It's where I learned to fish. Let's go. And then have you been down to Fayetteville, down to McCollin's Fly Shop?
I've heard of it.
There's only one shop.
I even reached out to the guy. Right. Exactly. So that's the shop they all talk about. So no, I haven't had a chance to get down there, but
no reason. You're ready to go.
Too.
Yeah.
Definitely heard of them. So over in Fayetteville.
Yeah. Then you got a bunch of places. You got Mountain Home. You got all those east. You got Taneycomo, the Missouri, and then a bunch of them down Fort Smith, down in that way. Yeah, there's a bunch of good fishing in that state.
Yeah. There's definitely places to get into trout, from what I've heard. But then something that'd be very unique, and something you don't really hear about. At least I didn't over in the West so much, is just getting kind of in the warm water species off the fly. So they're hitting smallmouth bass over here is pretty big, right? So I'd love to get into some of that, and it's kind of weird, but they're fishing poppers and things off with a fly rod, but. Like I said, I'm down to try, like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right?
Yeah,
so.
that's
right, man. That's a motto
fly
to
shop.
live by.
That fly shop turned me on to a couple smallmouth bass for streams. So they those guys love it fishing that. So it's a good place to start for that. So
What part of Utah were you in? Edward, what part of Utah were you in? Where did you fish up there?
So I did almost exclusively just because it's so close and convenient, and again, just having the kids, right? So I was in a smaller town called Lehigh. It's just south of Salt Lake, probably about 20-30 minutes of Salt Lake. So I was on the Provo. If you guys have ever spent any time in there, it's just a very easy access, like tailwater. So they have the lower, the mid, and the upper. So I would basically hang out in the middle and the lower. Nothing crazy, nothing earth shattering there. It's just really fun fishing, very overfished. So you get, some very picky browns. You run into whitefish over there as well. It's a blast. That was just my happy place. So anytime I had, an extra hour or two, it was about 30 minutes away from, door to the river. So, went there a lot. And then, where I kind of learned how to fly fish was in Idaho. So my wife is from Boise, and so we would her father. So my father-in-law is the one that's got me into it. You call him my mentor, if you will. And so anytime I get to fish with him, I do. But he's the one that took me out on some of the rivers in Idaho, and anything from like wild cutthroat to stalker bows. We've gone and fished up there, and it's an absolute blast. I love Idaho, love it. Just love the West,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I will say the one cool thing about fly fishing is, you picture fly fishing as this quintessential like mountainous sport that only takes place in the Rockies, and you're out there with your single little bag and like maybe pair of forceps purist fishing the whole time. And that's like, especially within the past couple of years, all of that's just gone out the window, and everyone's like, I don't care if I want to throw a bass popper, I don't care if I'm going to be pulling a 7-inch streamer for muskie, right? And that's like the cool thing about your situation, Edward, is like you have those roots of like fishing those, high mountain streams and creeks and all of that. And you're taking all of that experience and translating it into this brand new concept of this new area, new species, new tactics. And like a true fisherman knows how to apply their techniques in nuanced ways, right? So you're taking that streamer pull you may have used in Utah and you're aggravating it. So you're really ripping stuff to aggress some sort of bigger fish. It's just cool, man. So I'm really stoked for you to have that experience while also being in a new place to implement it too. It just sounds like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And just so I understand the company I'm in, I mean, Dave, I obviously see all of your content and all the great fish that you're pulling and my dream spot is, I think it's called Nunya Biz or something.
Last time I was out. Yeah. I'll have to show it to you sometime if you come out to Colorado.
Yeah, that Nunya place seems pretty cool. So you'll have to take me out there sometime.
It's popular. Browntown also. That's another good place to visit.
Browntown, Browntown Palace, I think is in Browntown as well.
Exactly.
Be a good spot. Bristol River. You got all the good spots over there. I got to try. I've never seen them on a map though, for some weird reason.
No? Oh, the geotag's not working? Weird.
Does it pull up with a 404 location not found kind of thing? Yeah. Weird out. Dave always goes to those spots. Dave, you got to fix that, man.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, man. Get away from, gotta help us out here.
My Instagram just, I go into jail a lot. I get hacked a lot. It's just, I can't geotag correctly. It's just a pain in the butt. It really is.
So I mean, what I was gonna say though, I've seen kind of what Dave does, but would you guys consider yourselves purists in that sense of like, dry fly only, or do you I'm kind of like insulated from all that, because there's some people I follow who very much are and kind of will almost poo-poo nymphing or hucking meat, or if you got a 10-car rod, it's kind of like the Nickelback of fly fishing, right? Like people are making
I love Nickelback.
Explains a few things.
I guess. Yeah, it's like the Uggs or Internet Explorer of fly fishing, but no, so I like just trying to understand like the culture, kind of what's like the taboo, and like are there true purists out there anymore? I don't even know. I'd love to hear from you guys.
The show is about you, so we appreciate that.
I will gladly take a minute to voice my opinion on this, but Gary, I would love to hear from you.
We're gonna definitely hear from Gary before we're done here.
See, these guys are setting me up because they know already. I am not a streamer person. I don't understand why you want to fish from your dryer lint. Throw a hook in it, call it a piece of meat. It's dust. It's lit. Came out of my belly. It's in the dryer and washing. Look at me. No. I said I've been fishing for a long time. The last 3 years here, I've been in Arizona, and I've run into some really good people who proved to me for 20 years I didn't know what I was doing. So the last 3 years, my game has gone up a lot, and it's a lot of who you're hanging around with. I mean, even Dave. So it's what you like. I like small streams. I love wading. I love walking. I love hiking. I love boulder jumping. I fished a lot of times on the Smoky Mountains. If you fish there, it's not flat. You're crawling over 6-foot rocks, 8-foot rocks. So you crawl it around, and I loved it because that's what I learned to do. I'm not a floater. I float. I don't like it. It's not my favorite thing. Streamers, I don't like it. It's not my favorite thing, but I'll do it. But I might be the one bitching. Are we done with this yet? And I'll sound like your wife. I say, time to go home.
Dude, this is why you're on the hook about the green, Gary.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why I'm like, hey, if I skip, it's not really going to hurt my feelings.
We're going to be floating. We're going to be hucking meat.
Yeah. That's why I keep saying they're going. I'm like, yeah, you put me on that waiting list, but I got to be the last guy you call.
All right, we'll call Edward first and see if he's
Edward, you want to go? Open spot on the green, man. Just opened up.
Hey, yeah. I'm there, guys. I'm there.
So that's my 1 minute. Pass it on to somebody else.
I mean, I will agree with you, Gary, that stream fishing with delicate lines on 3 weights, right? For brook trout, for cutthroat trout. That is some of the most quintessential fishing you can do, right? It's some of the most wild fishing you can do. But I don't know where I stand on the debate, really. I think just whatever is going to catch me the most fun fish for me, right? I love big dries. I love streamers. But today I was out nymphing for 2 hours, mostly because I had the most fun catching fish. So whatever puts fish in the net, obviously, is what I like, but I have my preferences and it's not nymphing. We'll just say that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think he's got the sticker on his raft that says, "I suck at nymphing."
I've got an entire chapter of a book written on the back. You pull up behind me and it's like one of those utility trucks. It's like, let me tell you in 15 minutes why nymphing is not for me and it shouldn't be for you either. And it's like an entire Bible. You read the whole thing and by the end of it, you're like, damn, maybe I should tie on a sex dungeon or something because that guy has a point. Sorry, Gary. Balls in your court.
No, he doesn't. I just got done telling you. Listen, you get your dryer lint. I got a size 8 sock over here that's got a hole in it. Perfect. Throw a hook in that one. We're going. That's just, oh, look at my sex dungeon. Look at my articulated. Look, it goes 2 ways. Who cares?
You tell that Gary doesn't like streamers.
Get a shotgun and just shoot the water. It's the same thing. We talked earlier. You take a handful of rocks, throw it out there, pick up the fish. There's what is that? I go, look, you know what? You could tie your streamer to a spinner rod. So why don't you just put away the fly rod and just use a spinner rod?
That's a good point. I will agree with you there, Gary.
That's a good point.
If it catches fish, I'll do it.
Does that include mouse flying at night?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's funny. We had somebody on here who offered that, and I went, "What?" Like, felt like mouse.
Because I mean, fly fishing is not really like a nocturnal sport, right? So I mean, that kind of brings it back in, right? So I mean, that's something I've never done, and I know it's pretty big. Some of the guides out here that I've talked to, love doing that out on these route waters, but that sounds like a trip to me,
Yeah, I haven't done it, but yeah, I agree with you. I would rather do that than throw meat. Here comes the meat. I'd rather go nighttime mouse fishing. That'd be awesome.
One of the guys from the fly shop by you just did a tip on mousing at night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch our short segments, Edward, but we have some guides that do tips. It's called Just a Tip Tuesday.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the latest one was a guy that actually was talking about mousing at night. I haven't been successful with it personally, but I'm committed to making it happen. It looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like a lot of fun. So, I mean, as we're talking about all these fishing tactics, right? Kind of right alongside that comes some good fishing stories. And while Gary and I'm sorry, Stan D-Man and Dave and I, we've shared a lot of stories. We'd love to hear some of your stories, Edwin. Is there a trip that you just will never forget? Is there a fish that you will just never forget? What's the juicy goodness on how fishing has treated you?
Oh man. So look, I'll say I haven't caught any monsters or anything that's worth mounting or anything, right? Like, I mean, I'm very catch and release too, but yeah, as far as like a fish, right? I find as an artist, like one of the main things that got me into like going and buying, a rig was just to get reference photos. Like I just wanted to catch fish and this might sound super corny. I'm gonna say it anyway, but like every fish that I've caught, and some of the smaller ones are even some of the most pretty fish, right?
Amazing. Brookies are amazing. Yeah.
Right. So, or just smaller rainbows, like just absolutely beautiful, right? And so that's really what I was looking for when I go fishing. But when you say like my favorite trip, it has to be in Idaho. So going off, there's some tributaries that go into the Salmon River, and we would go up over the middle fork of the Salmon. There's a creek there called Marsh Creek, is where you put in. And we have these little fish cats. They're probably about, 8 to 9 feet. And they're just single man rafts, and you float down the river, find a good spot, and just, there's absolutely no signal. There's no civilization around you. We went this summer, and we'd go every year. And this last time, it was just such a blast. It was with my brother-in-law. It was just a guy's trip with my father-in-law as well. And we're just all out in the river, no cell phones, no connection to the civilized world, and we're camping and fishing. And I just there's nothing better. There's no place happier for me, than out in the mountains like that. And so this last trip, though, I hate to bring the C word up, but COVID was kind of like a big fiery thing, right? And I had managed to escape it, ever since it came out. And of course, when I get out on that river, I got hit super hard with just being sick.
Oh.
And it was the funniest thing. I didn't even know what was going on. Like we did 2 nights on the river, and that first night I just came up really hard, and it was like headaches and everything. And my brother-in-law and my father-in-law are both pharmacists, and they're like, "Hey, just take a 5-hour energy, you'll be good." so I just went and
well, they're not doctors, are they?
They're not doctors, no. Yeah. So, but funny enough, though, like I don't know if it was just a placebo effect or what, but I felt like $1 million. And so that 5-hour energy is really light. I mean, the marketing's not a joke there. It actually does last about five hours. It gave me enough to just go and like start catching fish.
Perfect.
And so I just powered
need.
through, and then all I needed, and then once that wore off, I got back to the tent, and I about died. The COVID came back, and I was not feeling great. But no, it was just such a fun trip, and it's just fun being out with the guys, and especially like ones that you love and are super close to, and then just getting to see ospreys going and diving in, or a river otter, or we saw bear, like black bear and cubs, right? So it's just nothing better than being out in the mountains, in the West. So I think that those are trips that always like stand out to me. But yeah, like there's so many things that or so many times I've been on the river and just to get clarity. Most of the times I fish are solo, and I just because I get so much out of it. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only been doing it for about 3 years, like fly fishing. I've fished since I was a little kid, was just like bobbers and night crawlers catching, crappie or bluegill, just, off my family's dock in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
But the fly fishing is a newer thing for me. It's kind of been just a nice release, especially in the busy time of my life right now where I've got screaming kids and diapers and the whole thing. And my wife was cool enough to let me go and get an hour or 2 out in the river. So yeah, man, there's a lot of good peace found on the river for me.
So you moved around a little bit and fished some different waters, but do you have like a big dream bucket list trip that it's on your list to do at some point?
And Standy Man, my I don't know how you feel about this, but you might be purely freshwater, but I would love to cast flies into salt water and go get into like something big like permit or tarpon or something like that, and like take me down to like Costa Rica, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like go catch like a rooster fish if you can even do that, or something like.
Dude, it's tough down there.
Like,
yeah, it's fishing for roosters
cool
down there. It's tough.
No, you just run down to Marathon and Isle of Marata. They're right there in the middle of the Keys. You get in and get a guide. He'll take you on a flat bottom boat. You don't need to, there's deep sea diving and fishing, but they have the flat bottoms. You tell them, I just want to do flat bottom fishing. And they take you right. I mean, literally, you go 20 minutes away, you're there. You start going after bonefish, jacks. I told these guys have heard my bad story. I've hooked into 2 tarpons and I've held on them for 18 seconds. That's both of them together was 18 seconds. So I know exactly what you're talking about, but it's doable. You don't need to, you don't need to leave the state. I mean, the country. You can go down to Florida and do it, or even North Carolina on the coast. It's very doable and very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and have you guys ever done like and again, just being a wading guy, right? Like I would love to be able to do. It looks like they're just like in the flats and they're just fishing from the flats, like almost wading, right? Like in their board shorts, and like getting into things like tarpon and permit or whatever. Have you guys ever done any of that? That's like would be a dream for me.
I've actually I've got my first kind of flats wading trip coming up in just over a month. I'm going down to the West Indies, Antigua and Barbuda, and we've got a guide for 2 days, and we'll be going after the Grand Slam. Hopefully I catch one of them, ideally, or at least get half a taste of, what Gary's got on a tarpon time. That would be pretty awesome.
What's the Grand Slam? Because every area seems to have a different Grand Slam. Do you know what that
Down
is?
there, it's bonefish, permit, tarpon.
Yes.
Yeah. So coming up, I'll report back to you, Edward, for sure, and let you know how it went.
Yeah, man, I'd love to hear about that. And Florida's now closer, so I, just moved from Utah, but Florida's a little bit closer for me, so
22 hours.
I might have to look into that more seriously and get out there. But yeah, I mean, catching trout never gets old, right? It just doesn't. I love it so much, and trying some of the warm water species would be cool. But I think if I had $1 million and it could go anywhere, I'd want to go try out some of the saltwater stuff and see what that's about, So that'd be amazing.
You just described my trip. I'm going down to Costa Rica in May for tarpon.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, there's going to be 4 of us. It's going to be a blast. We're going to be on boats. We're not going to be, on flats. This is like jungle tarpon. I'm super excited.
So,
Hey,
so
Dave.
how do you choose a guide over there? I mean, what's I'm sure they've got just hundreds of guides down there.
You got to know people, and I happen to know Lance, and Lance had a tree house down in Costa Rica. So he knows some guides down there, and he hooked us up. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Is Lance going,
Well,
or should I just ask Lance?
I know Lance now.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread the love. No, I'm actually, because of the Antigua trip, I had to skip out on Costa Rica this year. Not only that, I sold my treehouse, but that just means I have to go looking for some new property, and I might drag you guys down there with me just to see what the water is like. Costa Rica is actually really sweet, Edward, because of a couple reasons. You get shots at 100 to 200 pound tarpon, right? Gigantic fish, 14 weight rods, all in these jungle mangroves. And you take a 2-hour drive up into the mountains and you're catching rainbow trout fresh from mountain stream.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, the fisheries up there have a little bit of everything. I'm actually a part of this group called CRAF, and it's the Costa Rican Association of Fly Fishers. And the claim to fame behind CRAF is that there are 50 different species of fish that you can catch on a fly in Costa Rica. An incredible group. They're basically a nonprofit in Costa Rica with international members all over the place. But yeah, I mean, if you ever get serious about Costa Rica, we could definitely point you in the right direction.
Oh, I appreciate that, and that's awesome. When the timing is right, I will definitely be reaching out and seeing if we can get some more info out of you, because that would be an absolute dream.
To answer your question, Gary, the reason Lance isn't going because he had to choose between going on a honeymoon with his wife or going to Costa Rica with 3 or 4 other guys. To me, it's an easy choice, right?
Right. I don't know how
go
he
fishing
like
with these guys in Costa Rica.
Every weekend you get married.
Exactly.
Costa Rica.
I mean, you could get married 3 or 4 times. This is a trip of a lifetime.
Judges are working Monday through Friday. Run down to the courthouse.
There's a reason I'm being very quiet right now, and it's because I know my wife listens to this podcast. So we'll just keep it at that.
Just kidding, Skylar. Sorry.
Well, Dave, put me on that list too. Let me be number 6 or 7 guys, the second or third reservist.
Well, we're gonna be on a boat, Gary, and we're gonna be chucking streamers.
But you're in the ocean, my friend. You're in the
that's
ocean.
true. That's true. It is tarpon. So
what date was that again, by the way?
May 8th, I think it is.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, right after my daughter's graduation. That's how I remember. Because we originally booked it during her graduation.
When coming home.
That's why. So I sent her a message. I'm like, can you watch the dogs when I'm gone in Costa Rica? She's like, sure, when? I'm like, May 5th through. She's like, my graduation's May 6th. Oops.
May 7th.
So naturally, Dave sends a message.
See, Lance, Dave's got his priorities right.
He does, man. And
I changed the trip, for the record. I changed the trip. So
I was going to say, I'm sure that Dave was like, well, could you walk my dog across the stage with you? Once, man.
Stranger things have happened.
Hey, Dave, I just found out I can't go. I'm going to Lance's wedding. So
I got you. All right. Well, have fun.
Actually, it's my nephew's getting married the following weekend, so I probably can't make that.
Oh,
Well, see, what needs to happen then is just the four of us here on this call need to reschedule another Costa Rica trip, because honestly, you can make some real incredible fishing trips out of 5 days in Costa Rica. Not only that, but you're not going to break the bank either. Again, knowing who you know, but yeah, it's a whole part of the experience, right? So, 50-cent beers at the spot right off the highway with questionable hamburgers, like that is gourmet.
Hamburger. I want fish taco, man. I want fish, fresh fish.
Oh, so you
tacos.
want ceviche? Yeah, that's the pinky out kind of
Give me
stuff.
the ceviche. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Not opposed to it.
that would be a fun trip. Let's put that on the books one of these days, boys.
You got it.
Dave's got the calendar. Load it up, Dave.
All right, I'll put it on the calendar.
See, there you go. Ed, we got a lot of trips planned for you. It's actually turning out pretty good for you. You're
Yeah,
spending your money.
this call's working out for me, man. You
And
guys
it's
might
all
get
because
extra
you.
stickers.
It's all because you offered Stan Demand some free stickers at the beginning of this.
Right. We usually don't treat people this well. It's usually, tell us what you want. Get out of here. We're done. Thanks for showing up. Bye. But no, you're different, Ed. You're different.
So Ed, as we were just chatting about your favorite trips and all of that, you really brought up the fact that fly fishing to you has brought more of an inspiration to your artwork, right? And I would love to hear where the intersectionality lies between how the wilderness and wildlife in general became a part of your passion, and how you translated that passion into a brand that's uniquely you.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I always tell people, so I'm from Los Angeles, right? Los Angeles, California, total city kid. And so I always tell people, I was born in the wrong place at the wrong time. I grew up in the northern side of LA, and I didn't get a lot of exposure as a kid to the outdoors. And so not until really I graduated high school and went to school in Utah, I got more exposed to, the mountains and hiking and camping. And, I didn't fish too much while I was in college, but just being out there, and man, the peace that I've always felt out there it's just been overwhelming, honestly. Like it's been so therapeutic for me. And, as a kid, one thing I did always appreciate was wildlife. And, I remember, most kids would watch cartoons. I was always I was an Animal Planet kid, right? Like I wanted to watch the lions take down the zebras. I wanted to see the bears fishing in the river. Like those were like the kind of things I wanted to do and learn about. And so, I've always had an interest in animals, and, now being a dad and having kids, it's kind of fun to be able to teach them that. And so when I started, I actually, just thought, man, I'd really like to be an artist, right? Just one day, seriously out of the blue, I was talking to my wife, like, if you were watching a show and the kid in the show was just drawing like scientific illustration of like penguins and stuff, and I just thought, man, that just looks so cool. Like I want to try that. So I remember I got a piece of paper and it was like a pencil like this, just a little nothing pencil, and started drawing like a deer, right? Because my father-in-law is a big outdoorsman, likes to hunt and stuff. So I was drawing a picture of a deer, and it turned out half okay. Nothing too crazy. If you actually look on my Instagram and scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see some of my first drawings, and there's nothing to write home about. But yeah, so I started drawing and just started practicing more and more, and that in it of itself started becoming more therapeutic for me too. And so I got to kind of mesh the two worlds of hey, I love being in the mountains, I like to draw, so why don't I draw the mountains, and kind of go that route. And so I have some stuff of my earlier things that I've done, I draw color pencils, so I have a bear, right, or let's see, a bison, right, just all kinds of things, even little doodles, drawing flies, when I was just starting out and learning how to do color pencil. So that kind of became my motivation to get out even more. It was okay, well, now I'm not just going out and enjoying the wilderness. I'm actually looking for things actively to draw, right? And so then that's kind of how it tied into fly fishing, and just I've always liked fish as a kid. I've always had like an aquarium with like cichlids or just
African
gourabi
cichlids.
fish,
Those are
fish.
cool.
Honestly, they're so awesome, right? So then that obviously fishing like has always kind of piqued my interest in that, and like I said, most of my references were coming from the fish that I was catching, and so. And then the other thing too is, it started kind of catching a little bit more attention on Instagram. I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm Insta famous by any means, like Dave here, right? But
Right.
but the following's grown, and like people have been very supportive, and I just started making kind of art based on my experiences as I've kind of like fumbled through as a new fly fisherman. And so there's some things like I made like a tree trout sticker, right? So it's just I don't think I have one with me, but it's just a trout that looks like a tree. It has stuff in it, and it's like I drew that because literally the day I drew that, before that I was on the river, and like I think I got 2 flies stuck in the tree above me. Didn't learn my lesson, in my back cast, and I'm sitting here like, freak, I caught nothing today, got skunked, but I did catch this tree. So laughed at myself and kind of recreated the situation in my art, right? Or just actually getting to draw fish that I've caught, is just kind of cool. It makes it a little bit more special. And again, for me, it's not so much gotta go to the cliche jokes here, but like it's not about the size, but it's really just about the experience and kind of the beauty that I was able to find in just kind of your mundane fish. And one of my favorite fish to catch is the brown trout, and I love that because the brown trout, it just has it does it no justice, calling it a brown trout, German brown trout. Like you'd think that's a really ugly fish, but every one you catch is just very specifically beautiful in its own way. And Dave, you capture that really well in your work, right? And kind of what you share in your content. You can really see just how unique each fish is. So I'm rambling, but I mean that's just kind of like my philosophy on fishing and kind of how it's intertwined with my work as an artist.
Awesome. I think it's funny that you mentioned like if you scroll back in your Instagram, because I actually did that before our meeting. I went back and looked really at where you started posting and seeing the charcoal pencil artwork, and it's cool because that's the roots, right? That's where you started. But then you got into colored pencil. I'm assuming you're doing some other mediums too. Are you at the point of doing digital artwork or? Yeah,
it's been funny. Yeah, that's definitely been an evolution of my work. So yeah, like you said, I started just like pencils like this, and then started adding color to it and kind of learning that, getting kind of like a foundation for as an artist. Again, all very self-taught. And then as I kind of felt comfortable and pretty good there, I went and bought an iPad and started doing digital. There's a friend, again, the community has just been so great. There's so many artists that I can rattle off that have kind of helped me in my journey as an artist and as a fly fisherman, or like inspiration, right? But yeah, I got kind of nudged into buying an iPad and started doing digital art, and again, just meddling with that and starting to make like different stickers, and it kind of turned into like, hey, do you do commissions? And it's like, well, I've never done a commission before in my life, but let's start, so cool. It's kind of turned into a pretty nice little side hustle. And, recently I just kind of go where the wind blows me. And, recently it's been logos and like t-shirt designs and things, helping some, newer fly fishermen or guides, or shops kind of like, get a brand. Cool. And so I've really, really enjoyed that. But, at the end of it all, like I did start art just for me, but it's kind of turned into like, for others now. And it's just been a blast, and I can't overstate that, like how fun it's been. And, the second it's not fun, I'll probably stop, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I don't see it happening anytime soon either. What do you have a website, or where do you sell your art?
Yeah. So I don't have a website. It's something I'm kind of wanting to do, and something probably the wind will probably blow me there eventually. But right now I sell off Etsy. Okay. Just kind of right. So it's just the SketchyWildLife store, and again, you can find that on my Instagram. But usually kind of how I work with it is, whoever reaches out to me on Instagram and wants a sticker, like, I'll sell it to them and send it over. And I'm usually pretty generous too. If you buy one sticker from me, you'll probably get a couple, right? You'll get 5 stickers. So I have more fun with it than, rely on it for, financial stability, right?
For us as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of kind of what, these fly fishing communities, whether it be on Instagram or, through your shops or even just, meeting people around town, everyone is very giving. And I think that's a spirit everyone should keep up, right? We're not only trying to have fun, we want to get to know each other, but also there's an entire another generation of fly fishermen that we have to inspire. And just being able to connect with simple things like stickers. I mean, albeit your stickers are beautiful and 10 times better than, a majority of the ones you see on rod vaults nowadays. But showing people that you have that outlet of not only fly fishing, but connecting it to artwork as well is super cool. So, definite kudos to you for sharing the love on that. I think that's a huge, important part that we should definitely keep fostering.
Oh man, super appreciate the kind words. Yeah, no, it's fun. And like I said, like even on the river too, like forget the art thing. I mentioned this earlier, but just being on the river, like or on the Provo River, that river can get pretty busy sometimes. And so, I've never had a bad experience. And you guys have fished a lot longer. You probably can share some bad experiences with like, kind of the fishing etiquette, right? But for me as a kind of a younger fly fisherman in the sport, I just haven't had a bad experience with anybody on the water yet. Everybody's, always been very helpful and like, or has asked me and I try to like pay it forward, what are you fishing? What'd you just catch that fish on? Right. And like, I'm happy to share the secrets. Like for me, it's not competitive, right? That doesn't bug me as much. Obviously I love having the river to myself when I can, but the other thing I just try to put in perspective is everybody's like me. They're just trying to get out and, get away from kind of the busyness of their lives, whether that's, issues at home or just need a break from the kids, right? Like, which is me. So I always try to be a little bit, kind of keep that in perspective when you are on the river. Don't need to hog a spot the whole time if it is busy, right? It's fine to let guys get in there and get a couple casts in and, hopefully he lets you back in the hole. So, yeah, man, it's just been so fun. It's been such a blast.
Speaking of being on the water, have you had any embarrassing moments that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah.
Gary and I can both tell you that we've each fallen out of a boat, so that's pretty embarrassing. But tell
that's
us,
awesome.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen to you.
Not together, not the same boat, but
right.
About a year apart though. Yeah. Same year. Yeah.
So tell us about yours.
Yeah, mine. I mean, the most embarrassing thing was just me being a complete spaz. So I was on the lower Provo and I was by myself, which is pretty rare, and it's right off the road. Again, if you've ever been there up in Provo Canyon.
Were you on the east side or west side of the highway?
So I would be on it would have been the south side of the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Gary's not good at directions.
It goes north and south.
Yeah.
The road goes north and south.
He was on the one cut bow where it or what is it, oxbow curve where it turns, east and west for a brief minute right there.
The river does. I'm talking about the
that's
road.
what you were saying.
The river does. The road doesn't. There's people doing 80 miles an hour on that road.
But the point is, I was pretty close to the road, right? And it's just a spot I'd go to a lot, and it's not far from. You can hear the cars going by and stuff. Anyway, I'm out there by myself, and I'm fishing and having a good time. I was actually having a really good day. I'd never caught whitefish on the lower Provo, and I'd caught 2 that day, and I was just pumped about it. And they were really good sized whitefish, and I've never seen them before, so I was like, this is pretty fun. Usually it's a brown and maybe a rainbow here and there. Anyway, I'm catching them, and then all of a sudden I look up and there's this wolf, like on the other side of the river, big black wolf, and I was like, what in the, like I froze and just like didn't know what to do. and it's like pacing back and forth, and it's looking at me, and I'm just like, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And so I always have a knife in my, I have a shoulder, sling pack, right? So sorry if that's like dumb or not cool, but I do have one, right?
I got a sling pack too, man.
I got one too.
Cool,
it's all good.
Cool
Oh,
kids
Sandy
club.
man, okay, he's cool with it. I got the approval from Stan, the man.
I've
anyway,
got two of them. One of them's hanging right behind me.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I didn't even notice that. Okay, so I'm in good company then. So I have my sling pack. I always have a knife in there just for whatever, because sometimes I'll hike with my pack or whatever. So I flip over my sling pack, grab my knife, and I'm like ready to dance with this wolf, right? Like Kevin Costner style. And it's looking at me, and then all of a sudden somebody comes floating down the river, and they call, "Hey, buddy!" and it's their dog.
Oh,
way.
no.
I'm there like
Holy
ready
crap.
to fight for my life on this wolf. and I'm just like hopefully just like trying to shove the pocket of my waiter.
Yo,
you
good
can't
boy,
see I'm trying
good
to kill this
boy.
dog. Good boy, oh yeah. Fetch your stick. And so just completely spazzed out, right? But to my credit, I mean the dog wasn't wearing a collar, and he's just running on the side on the bank while this person's floating down the river. And the dog was huge. I mean, just I don't know what type of dog it was, but it looked kind of like a wolf type.
Wolf dog,
like
yeah,
a
for
black
sure.
and a wolf dog, right? It could have been like an Irish wolfhound or something, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, it's just I was by myself and I saw this canine, the large canine, like in the middle of nowhere, or not in the middle of nowhere, but in the mountains. And I'm like, just thinking like, does Utah have wolves? Like, is that a thing here? And anyway, so it was kind of a spazzy moment, but definitely kind of red in the face when the owner came down, and hopefully didn't see me with a knife out.
It's hilarious.
That was good. Yeah. The honest
Yeah,
ones are the
yeah.
best ones. You honestly thought you were doing good. Oh, what the hell? Sorry. Sit.
You have such a cute dog, by the way.
It's
Yeah,
trained so well.
beautiful dog.
I almost wore it like a
Wow.
hat, but
I almost wore it as a coat. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So
That's a
Pretty
good
embarrassing.
story.
Wow, we appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, no problem, man. I'm here. I'm always down to humiliate myself whenever I can. So
Oh,
no
You're
pride.
definitely in good company there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone really out of our podcast has any bragging worthy moments, but we have pockets full of, embarrassing stories where.
For sure.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah,
But you got to
so-
laugh at yourself. That's the best. You got to
Exactly.
laugh
I
at
mean,
yourself.
if you're not laughing at yourself, you're not having fun, right? And that's why half of us
That's
go
right.
fly fishing. I mean, I was, as I was saying today, I was out on the water and I was trying to remember how to toss a dry fly because I saw one fish rise and I clipped 3 flies off of my line, just to throw a dry fly at one fish that rose this one time. Is just, sometimes we just never learn, I guess, right?
Oh, I threw 2 last week. I was like, nothing's happening to them. Dry fly. Not
There
that
you
I saw
go.
anything rising. Not that I saw anything. The hell with it. Dry flies. Let's go. I
What
know
does
you
Hank
guys-
Patterson say? You just make your own hatch if they're not hatching, right?
Yep,
There you
exactly.
That's words to live by.
I like that one. Yeah, that's a bumper sticker.
Make your own hat. Oh, write that one down.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
that
you
one.
You take
sticker
credit for it.
inspiration for you
That's
there.
from
Edward.
Ed.
There you go.
Ed stole that one. I mean, Ed made up that one. There we go. No, that's good. You're going to
You're
like it down there once you're able to start fishing. It's going to be tough with kids, but I like Fayetteville a lot. I mean, I'm sorry, Fayetteville, but Northwest Arkansas. So jealous of you, buddy. Jealous.
My father-in-law just moved down here too. So, he and I are the ones that are going to go out guiding, but he's fished. He was born with a rod, in his hand. He's one of those guys. So hunt, fish, he does it all, but, so it's kind of nice that he's down here now and can, we can kind of figure it out together. Again, very Western guy, born and raised in Idaho. So it's all very foreign for him as well. But it's kind of nice to have a buddy that's like always willing to go. He's retired, so he's always good to go. It's just me trying to find time. But Yeah, we'll try out the beaver tail water. That's one we've wanted to get down to for a while.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
So have you been there? How long have you been there in Bentonville?
It's been 6 months.
All right. So you haven't done a spring yet, huh? You know, like what
No.
I'm getting at is like in Colorado when it's skiing season, everybody throws their ski racks on top of their cars, you know. And then when in some areas when it's hunting season, everybody puts their rifles behind their windows in their trucks.
Yeah.
What I didn't know what happened, which is pretty cool in Northwest Arkansas in the spring, it's canoe season. Everybody throws the canoes on their car because the water's high and they're all going canoeing. It's like you go into a parking lot, there's 10 cars at the grocery store, 10 of them have canoes on top of them because they're going that afternoon.
Okay.
They're going. It was a weird phenomenon, but a cool one, but something you don't really think about. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Are a lot of guys are a lot of guys fishing from those canoes, or they just like to float and
they
enjoy
just
the scenery?
float or they get a spinner rod out. So
yeah.
So a lot of it is just floating. That's where you go and you hear the banjos. That's my cousin. Am I related to them? What the hell?
I mean, that sounds like an honestly good time though. Tooling around in your canoe, jamming to some banjo tunes. Man, that's gotta be something else.
You get like on a weekend you get 100 canoes on one river. You think it's super crowded, not going to be great, but everybody's having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. His kids are out there. It's family friendly. It was just a great experience. I had 2 boys that were small when we went out there. It's a tremendous place. I was very happy with it.
Well, shoot, if you ever make your way out, I mean, look me up. I'd be happy for you to show me all your spots. And
it's been a while, but I have no problem coming out. I'll show you both of them. I know where they're at.
So Edward, I want to touch on one quick topic, still related back to the artwork thing. And I'm sorry if I'm jumping over the other guys here, but just to kind of to see this, this complete picture of you through, you picked up fly fishing and it's really taken a pleasant toll on you, right? And art has complemented that. And you said there's a lot of synergy there, right? So, among this community of fly fishers and anglers that we keep talking about, who are some of your biggest inspirations that you've found through the process?
Yeah, it's there's a lot, right? And so and one you guys are probably very familiar, right? She's been awesome, and just kind of I see a lot of me in her as well. So Rebecca Lentz, right? She's just so hilarious, and not so much an artist, but just an inspiration in kind of like fly fishing, right? And like kind of being herself and not being so afraid of sucking at fly fishing, right? And just kind of
she hasn't been doing that long either.
It's been so fun to watch her, right? But from like a artist perspective, I mean, and I don't know how familiar you are with all these names, but like Chris Underwood is one of the first, I think, artists I've seen that really did the type of art that I wanted to do from like a fishing perspective. His stuff is just so, like, his style and all his work is just so awesome. I mean, it's just like so unique and so him. Even if I wanted to like recreate that, I don't think I could. It's just so technical and beautiful. But then there's other folks out there. Drew Wilson, if you've ever heard of him, he kind of does more of the lowbrow art, right? I believe he's a tattoo artist, and he's the one who kind of turned me on to kind of being a little funnier with it, right? And trying to be a little bit more quirky with the design. And so you'll see, like, in my work, like I jump a lot, like, from different styles. I personally don't see like a signature style in my work because I just like to do so much and try so many different things. But then there's other, like, smaller artists that you might not have heard of just because they don't have the following, like a Chris Wood or a Drew Wilson would. But I'm going off all the tags you guys kind of hit me here, but Bronc Hopper Creative, if you've ever, that's her tag on Instagram. She does mostly like Western art, like Western wildlife, hunting, fishing. And her style just, again, is something that I've tried to kind of take a little bit and put into my style as well, and kind of what I do. You know, there's just, gosh, there's so many folks. Dawson Outdoors, have you ever, I gotta look up his name. Have you guys followed him at all? Dawson Outdoors.
I need to look. I'm not sure.
Look him up. Here, I can, yeah, his, let's see. Yeah, Dawson Outdoors, artist. I actually don't know what his name is, but his work is phenomenal. And I actually have it right here. And I can shoot that over to you, Dave. But he,
real cool.
Yeah, are you looking at it right now?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, his stuff is just amazing, right? And so, like I said, I kind of try and take a little bit from all these guys, and you know, I've reached out to a lot of them as well, and they've been extremely supportive. And you know, they'll tell me their process, or even if it's like things like, you know, pricing, right? Like pricing and art is just so subjective and kind of has a really wide range. But you know, they've been super helpful in trying to kind of help me dial that in. And so yeah, there's just endless. I mean, I try and be, Instagram has been really fun because it's allowed me to kind of like talk to these folks and really build a community. You know, there's another, a good friend on Instagram is Kevin. He runs the Casting Furs and Feather
I like his stuff.
Instagram. Just a wonderful dude. He's got a really cool style, and you know, he's one that I've worked with and collaborated with. You know, and he's kind of helped build a community of artists in the fly fishing industry. And so, yeah, man, I could go on and on about it, but yeah, it's the community has been a blast to be a part of. And you know, another thing too that I wanted to mention is just, and I'm sure you guys are part of this, but I've loved, you know, just talking about like the community online for like the fishing folks is, you know, when unfortunately, like Justin Aldrich, if you guys remember him, you know, kind of getting to see, you're right, like a respected fly tyer, and getting to see the fishing community kind of rally around that, and all the artists participated in kind of doing these like auctions for their work, and were able to give to his family. And you know, unfortunately, we know how it turned out, but I just think, you know, stuff like that is that's what I'm here for, man. That's the kind of stuff that, you know, I want to do, because again, I said it's not about like the financial stability with this. I have a full-time job for that. This is more of the passion, and getting to kind of meet and work with people. And you know, if there's a chance to do good in a case like that, right, like sign me up any day, you know. So yeah, man, it's just been a blast. I've said that 1,000 times on this, but you know, I truly am just having so much fun.
No, it's pretty cool to hear your passion, your volumes, your passion's coming out. So that's pretty cool to hear and watch. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We're getting in close to the end here. Is there anything you want to say, even though you just did a great little line there? Any closing wishes, compliments, anything you want to say to anybody? Say
Hey,
hello?
no, I mean, yeah, again, like just shout out to all the folks that, you know, I'll share this on my page. So shout out to all the folks who've kind of helped me in my journey. A lot of you guys know who I am, and probably never seen my face, so I don't usually show my face up on my Instagram. But you know, and Dave, you're one of them, right? Just thank you for all the support. You know, just kind of giving me the rah, and you know, just little things like posting a peace sign, or like a, you know, Nux in the comment section. It helps, right? And it's just awesome. And thank you guys, you know, it's meeting you here for the first time, but for the opportunity to you know, get on the podcast, and then obviously work with It Set You Free Outdoors, you know, and getting to kind of put some of my art out there. Like, you guys, right? Like, gosh, I did that piece. I know we're working together and using the one of my designs that's you know, no gloves, or I can't even really said on it. Gosh, my mind's blanking, but it's a piece that gloves kill, right?
Right.
That was completely inspired by a video that It Set You Free Outdoors put on the Instagram, showing, you know, the detriment to the fish of having, you know, tailing gloves on, and how it ultimately kills the fish, right? Because it's taking away the slime and everything. I saw that and I was like, gosh, man, that's such a cool PSA. You know, maybe I can put something out there with that, and like literally put the art out of there because I saw that from you guys, right? And so just big shout out to you and what you guys are doing, and your mission as well, right? Like super honorable, and like if there's any way to be a small part of that, I mean that's an honor for me, right? You know, it lines up perfectly with kind of what I am and kind of what my whole you know, approach to fishing and the art is just feeling good about yourself and feeling better even, and like, you know, using this as kind of a tool for therapy and you know, just kind of getting away from it all, right? So just a huge thanks and for the support and for just chatting with me.
Well, we wanted to thank you. So this has been It Sets You Free Podcast Outdoors. We're here with Sketchy Wildlife, Ed, and we wanted to thank you very much for coming out, and thank you guys. Good night.
Thanks, Ed.